hello, and hello, you amazing friends. This is Edwards here with amazing Ron Klink from across the pond in New York City. How are you today, Ron Klink?
Doing great, Edwards here. Great to be with you again, my friend.
Now, I was going to say, it looks like we're in the same room again, doesn't it? Just a slide. It looks like we're just like in two different offices or something.
Exactly.
Oh, I just want to say it's great to have you with us. Ron's a great friend of ours. I'm in Sydney, Australia, and he's based in New York City. Ron, I just wanted to ask you, my friend, what's happening in New York? What's the election season looking like? It's all pretty nuts in America and down here right now.
It is, Ed. This presidential election race is pretty tight. Each candidate has their own tight numbers in which they're in each U.S. state here. Their numbers they're tied pretty much close neck and neck with each other. So that's how closely this race will be.
Oh, it's incredible. And it's funny, this whole election, whether you're Trump or Kamala, that's all awesome. We all respect your democratic right to vote. Of course, I love Donald Trump. The other thing I find interesting about all this is that it inspired the headline. I kept thinking about security in insecure times because I tell you what, Ron, isn't it, aren't we in such an insecure time? I mean, I get at least 2 fake calls a day on my phone. I get at least 10 email spam fraud things my credit card got blocked about a week ago because someone tried to put a $500 purchase through. So I tell you what, fraud's at an all-time high. Tell us what you think, Ron.
Ed, you're right on target with what you just described. And I'm sorry that happened to you with someone trying to do a $500 charge on your credit card. I know a lot of people that has happened to it, and that's pretty much here all over the world, not just where you're based in Australia. I'm here in New York City. It happens globally anywhere. One of the at least here in the U.S. and it's happened here in New York City, is what they call skimming. Okay, where they put it into let's say a credit card machine, or when you had to pay for your public transportation to get on the subway railway, say here, there's a little small skimming device which they can, if you're doing a swipe with your credit card or debit card, whichever it may be, they can read off the account number. It's transferred to an unknown entity back to where they can start doing quick purchases as much as they can before you cancel your credit or debit card with the banking information that they may have. If you're using your debit card, you're more susceptible to getting your financial bank account drained than you would do with a regular credit card like American Express or MasterCard, just to name a few. You can dispute it more with a credit card with the companies I just mentioned, easier than you have to do with going into your financial institution, whichever that may be. The process is a little bit longer, where on a major credit card, it's a little bit quicker, not as much, but still a little bit quicker. They can freeze those charges, which you are not liable for.
Interestingly, when this fraudulent charge came through, we got it actually blocked the charge from going through. It actually put my card on hold, and it said, "Hey, we think this is a fraudulent charge. Say yes or no."
Right.
And I said, "Oh, sorry, is this your charge?" And I said, "No." Instantly blocked my card. Then 10 minutes later, I had a phone call from the bank, and everything was under control. So just big credit to my bank for detecting it. So I suppose that's it. We're into such crazy times. We're in political change. We're in technological change. We've got AI coming in. We've got all the platforms doing all this weird stuff. You've got Elon Musk always doing crazy stuff. I got to say, I've been around for a long time. We both have.
Yes.
Why do you think the rate of change is so high these days? It seems like what happens now in a week is what would take 6 months. There's a huge rate of change increase, isn't there, Ron?
Most definitely is, Ed. With the different processes that usually, like you mentioned, would take 6 months to do, now take a week, if not shorter, in time to complete, due to the new artificial intelligence that has come now over a year, and has just progressed through all the tech companies that are making it happen, with all the such as from Google to Microsoft and everything else. There are good things about artificial intelligence, and there's bad things about AI as well, which we try to defend the bad things that happen with artificial intelligence, whether it be through deep fakes, videos, or voice on the phone scams, saying to someone, to a loved one, say, look, your son just got arrested. I need $5,000 from a lawyer. I need to bail him out. Or from a utility company saying, look, your check got bounced here. I need you to give me your checking account number and routing number so I can pay your bill for it. So I can pay your bill.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And just clicking in with our fans as well, we've got amazing Cran Middlecote with us. Cran Middlecote, he's an airline pilot, actually. Great guy, ex-airline pilot, gone motivational speaker. He's talking about Moore's Law. Yep, technology speeding up. And we've also got a few other people with us as well. We've got Rosa, Rena, great seeing you. Just come in, like, share, comment, say hello. We're so honored to have you with us and connect with Ron Klink in New York. So I guess we have an incredible time of change. So yeah, it sounds like and the thing I find interesting is that whether you're in New York, Sydney, or Singapore, at the end of the day, distance makes no difference because we're all using the same technology and networks, aren't we, Ron?
Exactly. Plus, people that live in more, not so much of a large metropolitan cities like Sydney and New York City here, lots of big infrastructure. People that more like rural countries of different parts, smaller populations, are using less means of technology because maybe they don't have the availability for it, such as internet speed access. Some are still using on slow internet speeds, which is still now. But and other older businesses, they're still using older technology, which again, they're vulnerable to ransomware attacks, malware attacks, and type of phishing email scams as well.
Wow, incredible. That's one of the big things that I see all the time. Like I still see some systems every now. Some are still running Windows XP of all things. I've actually seen that, believe it or not. And yeah, what are you thinking, Ron?
Yeah, Ed, you're absolutely right. Some people are running Windows XP. Some people are still running, if you could not believe it, Windows NT40, which is, look, both those two Windows operating systems were solid and were great operating systems for its time. No, they have been supported by Microsoft for a very long time now. That's why we have Windows 10, which is going to be as support from Microsoft as of October of next year. So please, if you still have your Windows 10 workstations, your security patches will be expiring unless you pay Microsoft either an annual or up to 3 years for additional IT security patches for your Windows machine. If not, then please, you want to upgrade to Windows 11 Pro. Do not go to a Windows Home. Use Windows 11 Pro. Much better security features and everything. And please use a good paid antivirus program. Do not use these free ones that don't do very much at all. Use a reliable one like McAfee, Semantic Norton, and similar.
So you don't recommend Microsoft Windows Defender? That's not high on your list of choices.
Well, it is a good choice, but use a paid good version of it. Ones that have been around a long time, for over at least a decade, that have reputable reputation and good antivirus programs for it.
Incredible. I gotta say, it's absolutely nuts where the world's going. So just inferring from what you're saying before, you're saying to everyone, make sure your software's all updated. Make sure your operating system's all updated. That's a key thing to keep security high.
That is right, Ed. Certain Windows 11 operating system will not support certain older computer hardware, desktops and laptops, because of the certain peripherals that integrate within the computer. One being the CPU processing speed, and another one being what they call TPM, because it has to be 2.0 or above. So those are the two sticking points for people not upgrading to Windows 11 operating system and still sticking with Windows 10, which is, again, still a great operating system and still receiving security update patches from Microsoft.
Wow, that's just crazy. I gotta say, I love where you're going, Ron, and we're in some interesting times. So now we've got AI that is trying to hack people's computers. Understand? So hackers are now using AI to get the edge, and companies are using AI to defend against hackers. I want to ask you an Elon Musk question. Where are we going with all this AI from a security point of view? Do you see AI on our computers enhancing security? How does that all sort of work and come together?
Well, now, Ed, any new machine that comes with Windows 11 Pro for professional, or automatically coming with a key that's on your keyboard, laptop or desktop keyboard, with the you're going to use for Microsoft Copilot symbol already on there, and that instead of going to the actual website for it, you can have it instantly on your keyboard, just hitting one button. Now, where artificial intelligence is going with from in a cybersecurity perspective is that, like I said, a lot of the cons with artificial intelligence is the scams that are going on, like I mentioned earlier before, with deep fake videos, deep voice changes, whether it be from a male or a female, posing as a family member. It is amazing, and it is also dangerous too. We have to use our common sense and when trying to analyze, deep fakes and scams. Yes, sometimes when you get caught up in a moment, you'll forget that's normal. It's happened to everyone. So don't be upset when you get scammed. Just try to use your common sense and stay calm with it as well.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, actually. Putting on my old policing hat. So I used to be, a long time ago, I used to be in the AFP, the Australian Federal Police, like 20 years ago more. And interestingly, even though I did more drug enforcement, I did get exposed a little bit about scams. And interesting, to this day, the Australian Federal Police share some really good content on LinkedIn. And they talk about scams, right? They talk about scams. And they say that most people who get scammed are actually very intelligent people, right? That's real. Most people who get scammed are very intelligent people. But then you're going to retort with, but they're so intelligent, how did they get scammed? And it's fascinating when they actually look at the reasons. It can be like if it's a romance scam or catfishing, it can be loneliness. If it's a work thing, it can be busy. Someone's busy, they're not thinking. They think it's from their bank. It's not. They click it, they put in their password details, all out of it. Tell us a bit more about that. How can intelligent people get sucked into scams so easily? I have. So, how do smart people like us get scammed so easily? What's the deal there from your point of view, Ron?
From my point of view, Ed, you mentioned, when you're at work or if you're feeling depressed, and whether it be from a dating app or catfishing, or you're working so hard, you're concentrating and focusing on what you're doing, and an email comes in saying you're let's say from a major bank like JP Morgan, or Bank of America, saying that your account's been drained. Sometimes you have to stop, look at the actual email, see if it's a valid one, and if it looks valid, call your bank first before clicking on that response to that email response that you've gotten. Call your bank and say, hey, look, I just got this email from the bank. Is this a valid email message that I received? This is why you have to think first, then react.
Incredible. I find it fascinating. It's interestingly, I was looking at a few of the different scams as well. I know we brought this up last time. I have to bring up Sony again. I love dunking on Sony, right? I love picking on Sony any chance I get. Now, let me go back to, I could be wrong on the detail here, but I remember in the Sony, around that time, I think the Sony PlayStation got hacked. Someone somehow got in there and they downloaded all the customer data. And apparently it was all just sitting in an unencrypted spreadsheet. So basically customer name, credit card, and everything, right? And I said this before and I say it again. How do big companies like Sony who are great companies that know what they're doing. How do they drop the ball on such basic security like that? Are they arrogant? Are they busy? Does it never enter their realm of consciousness so they'll get hacked? What's the deal there?
Well, Ed, you brought up some good pointers there. In regards to Sony. Sony was one of the first companies that got hacked when cybersecurity was just at its infinite stage, and hacking was just at its infinite stage of stealing information from major companies. Companies like that type of size has happened to many others since then. One could be the lack of IT security, that they're just using the minimal standards just to meet the threshold for their end users and for compliancy, where they should go above and beyond what their threshold. This way, the better endpoint security for their internal resources as well as external, meaning that making sure the company's firewall is blocked from external resources, such as an individual hacker or group of hackers trying to get inside the company, whether it be via email or it's actually someone coming in and putting in a external peripheral, like an external hard drive, to bring up their PowerPoint presentation or whatever it may be. IT security is at the utmost importance these days now. The way how so sophisticated AI is coming into play now, with that as what we've been discussing so far, Ed.
So I suppose the other way, I'm going to give more of a policing answer here. You only need what? In a big company, you only need one person on the inside who's on the take to leak out a little bit of detail to get in. I mean, if you think about it for a second, it doesn't matter how big the company is. If you have one person on the inside who's on the take, or they've been blackmailed or compromised, that might all they need for a hacker to get in. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, that is a fair comment, Ed. In what you just described, it only takes one person to leak private information to an outside resource, and then they're going home free. There's no diamond in the rusted. It's just once they have that information,
that's it.
It's open access to all. But this is why I always explain to people doing preventive maintenance. I use a simple analogy. You do preventive maintenance on your automobile. You rotate your tires. You change the oil within your gas engine, or keeping the battery charged these days, whether you have a hybrid or full electric car. Making sure these preventive measures are done on a consistent basis. You don't want to be on the side of the road of a major interstate highway while everyone else is passing you by, and you're waiting for a service truck to come and help you out, whether that could be an hour or longer, depending on the weather as well. So I try to make this point across to simple people who are non-technical, so they can understand and comprehend it better.
Yeah, it's interesting. And the simple thing I say to people, because again, as you know, I'm a LinkedIn Microsoft guy, right? Certified LinkedIn trainer. And I find it amazing. I've met a lot of people over the years who've had not so much their LinkedIn, but a lot of their Facebook and Instagram accounts hacked. And when I talk to them and I'll say, how did it happen? Usually they got an email and filled it in, but none of them have two-factor or multi-factor authentication set up. And it's funny, I've had at least once a week, someone will try and access my Facebook or Instagram account. They'll always try. There's always, I'll wake up and there'll be, hey, we've had a Facebook password reset request. Tell us a bit about multi-factor authentication and how these people are always trying to reset my password.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you very much for mentioning that you're a LinkedIn certified trainer as well. Myself, I'm also in the Microsoft ecosystem as well on my end here. Yes,
yes, love Microsoft and Donald Trump. Sorry, carry on.
That's okay. Look, as we spoke about last time, two-factor authentication and multi-factor authentication is at the utmost importance. Is it a pain in the neck? Yes. Even executives in companies have mentioned it. It's a pain in the neck. I hate doing it. But it is a deterrent for hacker and hackers out, all alike. It slows them down. It doesn't stop them. It slows them down first. So whether you're doing on your Facebook, Instagram, or Amazon account, which I have it on mine as well as my LinkedIn. I have two-factor authentication enabled, saying it's myself. And yes, even if you're doing it on your mobile phone where you're doing banking, online banking, it asks you for two-factor authentication to authenticate yourself. So it is of the utmost importance to enable that. So all our LinkedIn community out there, please, as much as a pain in the neck it might be, please enable your two-factor authentication, whatever you're doing, whether it be from Amazon to LinkedIn, whatever, anything online, please authenticate that and enable it all the time.
Yeah, it makes sense. And we've got amazing Felisa Moffat with us. Felisa, we love you. I don't know why it says LinkedIn News, but it's actually Felisa. We love you, Felisa. It's amazing. You just come in, like, share, comment. If you're watching the recording, like, share, comment too. Connect with Ron, Klink, and yours truly. That's a fascinating thing I find about all this is that, it's some of the things like multi-factor authentication is so easy. And I suppose as well, it would be very hard for a potential hacker to hack multi-factor authentication. They either need access to your email account as well, or maybe they physically need to take you prisoner and force you into their account. So I suppose it would be very hard to hack multi-factor authentication, wouldn't it? Very hard to hack. Possible, but it takes a lot of extra effort.
It is not as hard as people may think, Ed. Like you mentioned before, a lot of hackers are smart and intelligent. Depending on how smart and intelligent they are, multi-factor authentication and two-factor authentication is not a stopper. Okay, it is a deterrent, meaning that it's just a temporary roadblock from the hackers to move forward or to go over that road bump. It just stops them intermittently. It's not 100% guaranteed that they won't get through it. So, but it is still keep those enabled for multi-factor and two-factor authentications.
Oh, that's scary. Ron, I was just going to ask you, open question as well. Love to hear what other kind of scams and stuff have you seen and what kind of countermeasures have you seen? What's some of the biggest fraud you've seen lately that you'd love to share with us?
Thank you very much. I would love to answer that. Some of the biggest frauds that I've seen from my own personal experience and my professional experience, been in the IT industry for over 30 years. I've seen technology come and go. But as far as scams, the simplest things, as we just spoke about, where someone calls you up on the phone, a family member calls you up on the phone, saying, "Look, Mom, I just got arrested, for speed ticketing. They put me in jail, and here, please speak to my lawyer." And the lawyer gets on the phone and says, "Mrs. So-and-so, Mr. So-and-so, your son's been arrested. I'm going to need $5,000 or whatever amount of money to bail him out or her out, at jail. Please give me your credit card, give me your checking account number and routing number so I can process it real quickly." That's one of the number one and simple ones that for phone scams out there. Other types of phone scams are, again, voice authentication, meaning that if a loved one or a friend or someone you might know sounds like them, but it's actually not. They're asking for help. Whether it be a loved one or a friend, they're asking for help. This is another big thing that artificial intelligence is happening with these hackers, Ed. Plus, also the simple things are the email phishing scams as well. But like I said, doing these preventive measures, using your common sense, will keep the hackers to a minimum.
Wow, incredible. Ron, you are an amazing man and very, very, very cool. And just talking away from technology for the moment, tomorrow is the big day in the United States, the big election. What do you think's what's it going to be like in New York? Is New York going to be nuts tomorrow with everyone voting? I suppose it's your Monday night, so tomorrow morning you're all going to be out voting. Is that right?
Well, yes. Here in New York City and here in the entire United States, they've allowed people who early voting in different U.S. states here, from here on the East Coast where I'm at in New York City, and 2 other U.S. states, New Jersey and Connecticut, they allow early voting and mail-in voting ballots as well. So for people who are not able to go to the ballot office and go to the machines and choose who they want as their government officials, presidents, or whatever it may be, they can mail in their responses as well. But tomorrow, yes, is the big day where you could go in, walk into any type of election poll, whatever it may be. You go to the machine, choose who you want, and yes, this will be a close, tight-knit race. Both candidates are neck and neck with each other in the points for the U.S.
Oh, there we go. Crazy times. Ron, thank you so much. Appreciate you. And to my friends from across the world, connect with Ron Klink from New York. Great guy. Ron, before we finish, can we get some closing thoughts from you?
Sure, Ed. Thank you very much again. I appreciate your time for this LinkedIn Live session. Just a quick few takeaways. Look, do your preventive maintenance on your computer. Make sure that you are using common sense. Okay, does this look legit? Whether it be from the email from your bank. Okay, if it doesn't look, you're not sure, call them up. Okay, most major financial institutions do have 24-hour services as well when you call them up. So make sure you call first. Don't just click on that option set to click OK or do the reply and give them your personal information. For that, businesses, especially small, medium-sized businesses, they need to up their cybersecurity infrastructure. So look, if you don't have the resources available, or your staff doesn't have the knowledge, or they're overworked, and your outside resources are not doing it for you, meaning from a managed service provider, they're not helping you as much, please, like Ed Zia said, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to assist you in any way I can, and make you a little bit more that much safer, and your data and information will be secure. You cannot say it will be guaranteed, because that's saying I won't get struck by lightning. So please stay safe, and reach out to me if any questions, tips you need help in, free of charge, no charging whatsoever. Again, thank you very much, Ed, for your time. It's been a pleasure speaking with you again.
Oh, pleasure. Thank you. We've got Ali Zanjani watching from Facebook, one of our great friends as well. Thank you all for tuning in. We've got Cran, Ali, heaps of great friends, Felisa watching. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, everyone. Like, share, comment. Stay awesome all, and talk to you all later. Keep winning,
everyone.
friends. See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.